Hey y'all, what's up? Back with another video. We're going to be unpacking some things, okay? So we're going to be breaking down what is break of the candle. See, a lot of people asking me this pretty often. A lot of people commenting on my videos. What is break of the candle? Basically, break of the candle is an entry type. I don't know if this is an entry type for other people that may not trade supply and demand, but me personally, I trade supply and demand, and to me, it's an entry type. For example, let's do it verbally first, and then I'm going to visually show you guys because I know a lot of people are visual learners like myself. When a candle hits your zone and you have a supply or a demand zone available, when it taps into your zone, that is the open door for an aggressive entry. You have people that love to take aggressive entries. I'm just not one of those people. I feel like an aggressive entry has pros and cons. For me, the pros to an aggressive entry, you get a smaller stop loss. When you get an aggressive, the candle is a little bit deeper into the zone, so it's decreasing your stop loss. One of the cons to aggressive entries, you're not getting any type of confirmation candle. You're just more so getting in as soon as it taps, which can be good too, because sometimes I notice a lot on NQ, the candle taps so fast and it flips and drives into the direction without even letting you hop on the trade yet. So it can be kind of a good thing. And the only downfall with aggressive entries to me, like I said, you don't get any candle confirmation. So it's no confirmation that we will continue to go into your direction. You're just getting in as soon as it taps. And while your money is on the line, while you're risking getting stopped out, you're basically like, okay, it's either going to take me there or it's either going to stop me out. You don't have, you don't really have any time to kind of think with aggressive entries because you just kind of get in as soon as it taps. So that is number one. Number two, which is in the middle of aggressive and conservative, is break of the candle. So break of the candle is when you have a candle body. Let's say that a candle basically comes up and kind of taps into that zone and it closes from the zone, but you're waiting on your confirmation candle color. So let's say, for example, I am looking for a demand zone. I'm looking for a demand zone. A candle comes down in my zone and it closes red. And then as the next candle is passing the top half or the body part and it's coming up and passing the body part of that candle, that would be considered break of the candle. Break of the candle, that will be the entry when it passes that candle body. So break of the candle for me is acceptable when the candles are moving kind of aggressively, strong rejection from the zone, and is getting a little bit too far away from me. My whole thing is when I take an entry, I want to get in as close to the zone as possible. And the reason why is because when you get in as close to the zone as possible, you got to think if you get in close, but still conservative, somewhat conservative, you're decreasing your stop loss. So knowing that with supply and demand, your stop loss has to go underneath the zone. When you get in pretty much aggressive break of the candle, you are decreasing your stop loss to what it could be. Whereas when you have a conservative candle that has taken off pretty aggressively and closed way further up from your zone, you would have to enter there and put your stop loss still below the zone, because that would be, where the candles will have to go until you just call it quits. It's once it hits that area. So you basically would still have to place your stop loss underneath the zone. It doesn't move. Basically, you're saying like, okay, when this candle passes the body of this previous candle that just closed, once it passes that, I'm going to enter because I'm anticipating that we're going to continue to push to the upside. That will be break of the candle. Even for sales, it works for sales too. For a supply, it works the exact same way, but it's just going into the opposite direction. So when you have a break of the candle for a supply, you have your supply zone. Once that green candle comes up and close out of your zone, let's say the door is open for aggressive entries. And then now, once that candle closes and you have a red candle pushing down, once it passes the body of that red candle that previously closed before that candle came out, that would be considered break of the candle. When this current candle breaks the structure of my previous candle, I'm going to enter, anticipating price to continue to move in my direction, if that makes sense. And then lastly, you have your conservative entry. Conservative entry is basically saying, okay, I'm going to wait for a candle confirmation. Under no circumstances am I going to get in while this candle is still open and pumping. So the pros and cons to conservative entry, sometimes it can kind of leave you behind. It can kind of drive without you. So that means if you want to get a balanced risk to reward ratio, if you're trying to at least get a 1-to-1, unfortunately, you're going to have to hold your trade longer, and you never know when price is going to flip and do a pullback, or if it's just going to be done for sales or for buys. So when you hold your trade longer, it's just getting more riskier. If the trade has already taken off and tanked down almost to a 1 to 2, and that is the close of that candle, that would be your entry for conservative. So you will have to enter there, make your stop loss significantly bigger, and then you will also have to wait for your trade to at least hit a 1 to 1. So if your stop loss is already super big, that means you have to hold your trade much longer. That is the con of a conservative entry that I don't really like, which is why I found myself starting to do break of the candle most of the time. If it's getting kind of aggressive, like, and there's strong rejection, I see myself doing a lot of break of the candle entries. Pro that comes with a conservative entry, it is confirming your direction of the candle. If we close red from the zone, that's like, okay, that's just like me getting on like a public transportation. I'm getting on a train or something, and I'm like, okay, asking the driver, are we going northbound or are we going southbound? In trading, are we going bullish or are we going bearish? It's the same thing, literally. Are we going bullish or bearish? Are we going northbound or southbound? You're basically getting on that train, and not only are you just getting on the train and sitting down, but you're also looking for signs. What direction are we going before I hop on this trade and take it? You following? You kind of get it? Yeah. That's basically the pros and cons to conservative entry. Now, I'm going to share my slideshow with y'all because I did work on this, and I don't know how to draw, but I tried to draw a little bit for you guys and tried to make it cute. Let me show y'all the visual. I'm going to show y'all another visual that I drew because I know that the charts can kind of be a little bit overstimulating a little bit. If you're trying to learn, I get it. For an uptrend, this is what a break of the candle will look like. You see that we're going upward, and then it does a little pullback, and then it breaks structure, right? We have a break of structure right here because we broke the structure of this previous high before that green engulfing candle came out of this direction. Okay, if you have a break of structure, your most recent red candle from your break of structure will always be your demand zone. That is step one. That's why we have this zone drawn up right there, right? So now you're waiting for price to come back down, tap into your demand zone so you can get a green candle closure coming out of your zone. As you see, we have a retest candle that came down. This red candle will be retesting our zone, and this green candle is showing that that is a hold. So that is a retest and hold. A lot of people wait for this green confirmation candle when they are looking for buys or when they're going in an uptrend. The only thing with this, as you can see, if this was a conservative entry, and I'm just going to write it here, conservative. This was a conservative entry. Of course, your stop loss always has to go beneath the zone because that's when all bets are off. Once it gets down here, I'm not interested because we're now breaking structure to the downside. So your stop loss is here. If you enter conservative and the candle is here, when the candle closes, this will be your stop loss. That is pretty large because you want to get in as close to the zone as possible. When you get in as close to the zone as possible, you're decreasing your stop loss. So if this is our stop loss, if we were trying to get a 1 to 1, we would have to at least make it, if we were trying to get not a negative risk to reward, we would have to hold the trade longer. When we could be in drawdown from entering in kind of late on a conservative entry, we could have been in profit if we got a better entry a little bit closer to the zone, if that makes sense. So this is what your trade will look like if you have a conservative entry. So an aggressive entry will be here. This is one of the pros about aggressive entries. You just don't know if it's going to play out until after you've entered the trade. So this is an aggressive entry. As soon as it taps into the zone, you're entering. As you can see, stop loss is significantly smaller. And then, of course, holding your TP, you could be in so much more profit if you get in super, super close to the zone. This would be your entry for break of the candle. As you can see, here we are. That is break of the candle. You can see where when the green candle is passing the candle body of the red candle, that will be your basically your green light to go ahead and get in. As you can see, there's our entry. We're not aggressive and we're not technically conservative, which is all the way up here, but we kind of caught it break of the candle as we're going up, still kind of confirming our direction because it's like, okay, we're passing the candle body of the most recent candle. So we're going to catch it while it's still a little bit close to the zone, still playing it safe, but not too aggressive. And still, We're still in profit when we could have been in drawdown if we would have waited for the candle to close. Candle closure would have been here. The candle closed up there. So all of this would have been drawdown, drawdown, drawdown. So we're up a couple $100, if that makes sense, by getting in break of the candle. So this is basically what a downtrend will look like in my little drawing. This is your downtrend. Okay, nice. So as you can see, we had a pullback, we had a break of structure here. This is our break of structure candle, meaning our most recent green candle from our break of structure will be our supply. That's why we have this area marked out as our supply zone. As you can see, the candle has came up and tapped, and this will be your conservative entry. If you are waiting for your candle to close, your stop loss has to be, like we said, it has to be over the zone. For it to make sense, it has to be, you have to give the trade enough time to cook. Maybe sometimes they want to play around in the zone. You have to give it enough time. Therefore, it always has to go above the supply. So this would be your stop loss for a conservative entry, meaning that you would have to let it at least hit a 1-to-1 for it to be fair to yourself. So you're not stuck in a negative risk to reward ratio. So you would have to hold the trade longer. That's what you have with a conservative entry. You have more so of an aggressive entry. Like I said, as soon as it taps the zone, this is your aggressive entry. First, you do your 1-to-1, 1-to-2. You're in profit when a lot of people could have been in drawdown on a conservative entry. That would be for an aggressive. And then, of course, break of the candle, like I always like to say, I usually like to take would be like right here. We're still catching it pretty early, not too far from the zone. So probably this. We're not in too much drawdown, but we are up in profit a few $100s than what we could have been if we would have entered in conservative. I really hope it makes sense. I hope that I help somebody. Those are the different entry types. I really hope y'all learned something, took some good notes. And yeah, don't forget to follow me on all socials, and so we can keep up and interact, and y'all can always learn new things along the way. Until next time, bye. I'm gonna see y'all later.